All right, we're live. What's up, guys? What is up? Man, we got another heck of an episode. I've been waiting to get this guest on for a long time, and I've wanted to have a northern angler come on here. This was one of the guys that I told Norman that we have got to get, and we finally made time. His schedule is about as hectic, if not more hectic than what ours is, and finally got him on. But guys, if you don't know, I'm Colin Burnett.
That's right, Colin, and I'm Norman Lee. But first things first, Colin, we got to take care of some business for tonight. One of our sponsors for tonight's episode is Spearpoint Performance Hooks. Hooks proven and tested to put more fish in your boat. Using their proven V-grip technology, Spearpoint hooks will perfectly present lures and provide the most secure connection between hook and fish, giving you the ability to prevent fish from shaking off. Spearpoint hooks are designed to perform and trusted by anglers all across the world. See what the buzz is all about. Get your Spearpoint Performance Hooks today by going to www.spearpointhooks.com. Don't forget, make sure to use our discount code DECKTALK10 for your instant savings at checkout. Again, that's spearpointhooks.com. And please don't forget, make sure to use our discount code DECKTALK10. Man, Colin, you are right, dude. We have one heck of a guest on tonight, and you could probably see him on the right hand side of your screens right now.
There he is, guys.
That's right. But anyway, let's get
What's up,
started.
guys?
I want to introduce this cool cat before we get started with this thing here tonight. We have a legit, and I do mean a legit, smallmouth hammer joining us tonight, guys. But he originally grew up with a flipping stick in his hand, chasing giant largemouth around Florida lakes, which, in fact, made him one of the most diverse sticks on the water that you will ever meet. He has a YouTube channel as well that is killing it right now, and I believe we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight. But he has two insane videos about to drop within the next couple weeks, guys. I am talking about Mitchell Elsey, and I hope I got your last name pronounced right.
Yep,
Mitchell.
yep, you got it right. You're one of the first people that actually get it right on the first try.
That awesome, man. But how you doing, brother? How you doing, man?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
I'm doing great. How about you guys? I just on my way back to Alabama. We're heading down there for the next few weeks and stuff like that. Going to do some shooting and before I head back up north and go get on some of these big smallmouth again.
Oh, and that's
I was
awesome.
fishing the Bass Nation regional event and kind of messed up my trolling motor yesterday at the end of the day, so it would kind of cut my tournament short, but
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
right.
But you're on the road right now. Just
Yeah,
I guess you said something about you're going to Alabama right now to do some
yeah,
filming down
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got to go do some filming with Dynamic Media. So Dynamic Media is a new social media marketing company and stuff, helping out anglers and companies run their social medias, helping them get to that point where they can do this full time too, like the anglers side of things, and then help businesses grow and really see a good ROI and take their social media game to a whole new level. So they got videographers and stuff that they send right to you and make it really easy on you to have a backlog of content and stuff.
That is
So
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and
I'm gonna
that
go. I, I'm gonna go get some stuff done for me, some stuff done for Jewel, and a couple other sponsors. Spearpoint Hooks, probably I'll get some stuff done with them.
yeah.
So
So yeah, that and that makes a difference. So like when you can have somebody like that backing you up and
yeah,
being able to have that content and it's and being able to have somebody help you marketing yourself, and
yep,
that's one thing like with Norman and I with doing the podcast, like we've had to kind of learn. We're still learning like how to
yep,
be able to grow. The podcast has kind of been just self efficient.
yep,
With just being, I think the main thing is like because we've had some good guests, excuse me, come on and be able to give tips and people being able to interact with them, and I think that's been able to help us out. And then like this, we and being able to have like people from all over the United States come on and like you come in and having that background like up in Michigan, being able to catch them big old smallies and I know when you was down this neck of the way, me and you, how there's no telling how many times me and you messaged each
Yeah,
other back and forth, like,
man.
"Hey, let's get out, let's
Yeah,
go," and
yeah,
our schedule just never lined up to
yeah.
where.
No,
And so, and
yeah,
when you called me and said, "Hey, man, I'm moving back up to Michigan," I was like, "No."
yeah, yeah,
So
dude. It's yeah. No, we're gonna get out still. So I got to take you and show you my little smallmouth honey hole on Chick.
I
So
that
Chick.
that is
Uh,
that's one
so
thing. Like I haven't like dialed in on like smallmouths on chick,
oh man. So
but
I think that's where I met you at originally was when I first moved down there and I was practicing for that BFL. Dude, after I talked to you that day, because I had messed up my hand, I had hooked into like an 8 pounder that day, went to go boat flip it and smacked it off the side of the boat because my hand was all messed up. So I ended up going up there like 2 days before, 2 or 3 days before the tournament started. I went up way upriver, like almost to the dam,
yeah,
and I found a little honey hole up there. And I threw in there one time, caught an 18 and a half incher, which was like 3.5, 4 pounds. Threw in there again, caught a 4.5 pounder. Threw in there again, caught a 4 pounder. Threw in there again and caught another four. And I'm like, oh my Jesus, what did we find here? So I'm on the phone with my dad, and I didn't know. I knew they had to be over 18 inches, but I didn't know you're only allowed one at the time. I
yeah,
called my dad. I'm like, Dad, I'm going to win this tournament on smallmouth. And he's like, there ain't no way. He's like, you're lying. I'm like, no, seriously. Like, I'm on like 22 pounds of smallmouth. So we had that angler briefing the night before, and they're like, "Yep, you're only allowed one smallmouth over 18 inches." And I was like, "Oh," like I got sick to my
Ah,
stomach.
oh, that
And
would make you sick.
my co goes, he calls me when we get done, and he's like, "So what are we gonna do?" And I'm like, "Well, we're gonna go catch a 4 pound smallmouth each." And then we're gonna skedaddle on out of there and see if we can figure out something else the rest of the day because there ain't nothing there. Well,
Yeah,
at least I didn't think there was anything there in that spot. So
right.
the more and more I fished it over the last few years, I found out there's giant largemouth and giant spots in there. So I caught a 4.5 pound smallie and a 5 pound spot on back to back casts in that spot
Wow.
last year.
Whew,
So yeah, yeah.
man,
So
yeah,
it's a pretty fun spot in the winter.
yeah. Now, you before like y'all. I mean, I've been real proud of you, especially like with the past year. I mean, because you and your wife have gone through some crazy stuff. Like your house
Yeah.
caught on fire,
Yep.
and you lost what 2 or 3 dogs in the
Three
fire,
dog. Yep.
and I told Norman when that happened, and I told him I says the house is it's just things. I mean, it sucks
Yeah.
that your house burnt, but when you lost dogs, that's family.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Well.
man, I don't know. I was like, he's going to be out for a little bit, but you went right
Yeah.
back out, and I mean,
Yeah.
you was
I
fishing a
had
tournament. I mean, was it the next
two.
weekend or 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago
So
from it?
the next week, and I had to leave 2 days after the house fire for Pickwick. So we had actually closed on a house. We closed on the house a couple weeks before that, and then we had just got keys the day before. So we had keys for 24 hours when it burnt. And what had happened was I was planning on coming up, getting the keys, getting some of the stuff moved in because we had bought a house that was pretty much right on the St. Clair River because I was going to start guiding on St. Clair and the river stuff like that.
Right.
And so we decided we were going to move up there for part of the year and then go back south for part of the year and just get my guiding business going. And when it got to the point where I could fully do guiding and fishing and all that stuff, and that's what I was going to do. Well, we got the keys, got moved in. Uh, 24 hours later, house burnt down. We were at Menards actually getting I was getting a dryer plug because it was like one of the first houses I bought that I had actually bought brand new washer and dryers that didn't have a good one in it.
Right.
So I was like, I forgot, I wasn't even thinking when I bought the dryers and the dryer and washer. So we ended up leaving for 45 minutes, came back, and the house was gone. So,
Wow.
and then two
Yeah.
days after that, 2 days after that is when we had to leave for Pickwick for the first NPFL event, and that's just kind of how the whole year started off. It continued to go like that the rest of the year. The first three events, I was dealing with insurance adjusters at every event and stuff like that. So it was kind of rough.
Yeah, and I mean, and I want to tell you that I've been very proud of like how you just been able to keep your head up, and your YouTube channel has just blown up.
Yeah,
Um, and guys, if you haven't checked it out, you need to go check his YouTube channel out. And he does videos on TikTok and all the other stuff
yeah,
as
yep,
well. And so any kind of social media, he's out there on it. Just
yeah.
check him out and
So
follow him. And it's killer
yeah,
content that you have.
it's crazy. It's crazy to think because I just started doing social media like 2.5 years ago. And so what I did was I grew it on TikTok. I grew my TikTok following, and then I started my Instagram. And then when Instagram got to like 6,300 or something, or 6,000, when it broke 6,000 earlier this year, I want to say, or last year, I waited, and I've only been doing YouTube really for like, I've posted videos here and there over the last couple years, but I really started focusing on YouTube the last like
Yeah.
6 months, and I've really started to grow it. And I got a lot of videos coming out. I've been kind of posting a lot of the shorts and reels and stuff like that right now, but I got some really good videos. I did a Fish the Eclipse video with Scott Dobson, and we put an absolute smackdown on. We didn't catch a lot of big ones, but we caught. Man, I lost a little bit of footage because I accidentally unplugged my camera. But
Oh man,
the video is still 45 minutes long of nothing but fish catches. And
man.
I got I got another one where he wanted to come out and try my power pole move because he wanted to look at it and see what he thought of it before he decides what he's going to get on his next boat.
Yeah.
And it's another 35-minute video. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy on how many fish we catch and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's one of them deals on St. Clair right now where it's absolutely fire, throwing a 2.8 Kitech, 3.3 Kitech, and just slow rolling it on the bottom, and they just can't stand it.
Yeah. Hey, fishing during the eclipse, were you able to kind of see if the eclipse affected?
It
Uh,
didn't affect them none.
It didn't up there.
No. So we were wondering the same thing, if it was gonna how bad it was gonna mess with it, and it was kind of slow in the morning, but as the eclipse started to roll in, we found a school of them, and we just kept boat flipping them. I mean, I think the fish got bigger during the eclipse, the ones that were
Yeah.
eating. And
yeah,
we caught some of our bigger fish during the like at full dark, and I got some of that on the actual camera and stuff like that because I was filming for doing some stuff for Douglas Rods. Well, that's why because he's with Douglas now, so we were doing some videos and stuff like that for him. And during the eclipse, it was really cool. So yeah, that's where some of our bigger fish came from. And then after the eclipse, the bite really turned on.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, when it happened here and it came through East Tennessee back in 2017, like I seen that we had like a bite up until probably it right before it went completely dark, and
Yeah,
then it just kind of died off. But I was not. I was catching them off at like downfalls that was in 8 to 12 foot, and they were
yep,
in the deeper part of the tree. So they were, and if it was a bare tree, I wasn't getting anything, but it had to have some kind of vegetation on it, and
yeah,
but the bite died for me
yeah.
right before it went completely dark. And
Yeah.
so when you said that it stayed,
Yeah.
I was like, man, I wish it
Saint,
would have happened.
Saint Dude, St. Clair right now is just absolutely unbelievable because all them fish are moving up and in them shallow areas, it's getting ready to spawn and stuff like that. And it ain't anyone can go out there and throw a hot dog out right now and catch 100 fish in a day. I mean, it's absolutely just ridiculous this time of year.
Yeah,
And really, any lake up north is like that right now. Like any of the largemouth lakes or anything like that, like you can just like a normal day. That's what was like hard for me when I first moved to Tennessee was like a bad day on the water in Michigan. Like in a lot of the places where I'm around is like 50 fish. Like go out and you catch 25 to 50 fish, and you're like, oh, that was a crappy day on the water. And then I moved to Tennessee and I went like 3 days on the water without catching a fish when I first went on to Douglas. And I'm
Yeah,
like, this is horrible. Like it made me re-question how good I thought I was.
right.
And
It
but
it it will humble you pretty quick.
yeah, yeah, it'll humble you extremely fast.
Yeah. Now,
That
how old were you when you left Florida?
so I moved. So we moved to Florida when I was 9, and then I moved back up to Michigan when I was 18.
Oh, I got you.
So I grew up, I pretty much grew up down there flipping. We lived in Lakeland, so we were like right in the middle of the Winter Haven chain, and then
Heart
Kissimmee
of the
was right
giant.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I had access to a private little golf course that was over there that was just had some magnums in it. And so like I think my average fish out of there was like 4.5 pounds.
Wow.
It was just
Ah,
absolutely crazy. it was
now
it was one of them places that you had to have a pass to get into, and if you weren't wearing it, and then when I left you had to be escorted by a member and stuff like that.
now do you like fishing uh like rivers, or do you prefer like to have like the highland reservoirs and stuff?
So that's it's funny you say that because like it's hard for me because I like catching fish. So I'll fish anywhere I can. But like I used to be horrible at fishing rivers, and now after moving to Tennessee, like dude, I crave the river. Like the way they set up in river systems and finding different ways to catch them, it's made me a million times better over the last like 2 years of fishing, like 3 years. Like I found stuff on the St. Clair River and stuff like that that I would have never in Detroit River that I had never touched before.
Right.
Completely fished it differently, and it was stuff that I was like I'd go out in the river and like in the summers no one's catching weight out there and I'm catching 20 like by myself. Like I'm not fishing tournaments out there because then I have to show spots to co-anglers and stuff like that. But I'm going out in the summer and catching 22 to 25 pounds in the river and never
Right.
even leaving, just throwing a 6XD and stuff like that. And it's just and fishing it different. Like you learn how to do things a little bit differently. So like one of the little tricks that I do is I actually throw a crankbait like a 6XD against the current. Like I'll drift my boat with the current and throw it against, because what it does is it gets it down there a little bit deeper and then you can slow it down. So it may not be a natural presentation, but them fish still move up river once in a while. Like they have to
Yeah.
fight the current to get up to different sections. Like everyone's like, oh, it doesn't look natural. I'm like, they have to do it. If you work it slow enough, them fish see it. And like if you're doing it with like a chatterbait and stuff like that, it causes it to flare a little bit more. It just gives it that different little presentation them fish haven't seen before. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one thing that I've learned. I've learned more about river fishing off of Nickajack than I have off of
yeah,
Chickamauga.
yeah,
Um, and more of less boat position is more important on Chickamauga, I
yeah,
think, than it is on Nickajack.
yeah.
Um, but I know I had a buddy of mine send me some pictures here the other day, and he caught two sixes and an eight, and he was fishing ledges, and the comment on it was what was it? It's ledge time, baby, is what he said. And I was like, man, I hate it. I was like, I that's to me, I I don't really hate fishing ledges. I just hate to fight people for the
Yeah,
spots. And
yeah,
with being on Chickamauga, I mean, every ledge that
yeah,
is on Chickamauga is going to have 20 boats on it. And so, and to me, that's just I just hate fighting people for
yeah.
spots when
Oh, I
I,
do too. So
I can go and beat the bank and or find stuff on secondary points and stuff like that. That I mean, I
I
might not be able to have the chance to be able to catch some bigger ones that they're catching on the ledges. But if I can go and get five pounders, I'm going to have a running
yeah,
into doing whatever I
yeah.
want. So
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I am, dude. Like, I don't fish around people. If you see me around people, it's because I'm really struggling. I'm the
right,
type of guy I'll run. I'll run 75 to 100 miles to make sure I'm away from everyone else. And
Yeah.
I've done it before. Like I think so when we were at Saginaw Bay last year, the I had two smallmouth spots that were freaking absolutely on fire, and one was 75 miles from Bay City, and it was an hour. It took me almost 2 hours to get there because we had an hour idle just to get out of into the main lake of Saginaw. So once you got into the bay, then I had another 60-mile run to one spot, or it was 52 to the one that I was trying to get to. And yeah, it was it was absolutely crazy. But you could go out there and I could catch 16 to 18 pounds, if not more than that. In practice, I caught 18 pounds in five casts, and I quit throwing at them.
Ah,
And and they just kept getting bigger. And so I quit. Like I was like, and the cool thing about that big NBT screen I run is like I was FaceTiming my dad, and I'm like, look at this. And then so I
yeah.
pitched it down there. I'm in like 60 foot of water, and you can watch the whole bottom lift up because it's just one big old giant
Oh,
school. And they all start fighting over it. They were eating a drop shot with a 1 ounce sinker before it touched the bottom every cast. And he's like, I hooked into one, and I'm like, oh, I got to let you go. This is a big one. And there was a boat like 150 yards from me, and I'm like, I got to hurry up and get this back in before they even see anything. So
Well, and
yeah,
talk about that screen. Well, I mean, like the
so,
big old flat screen TV that you got that's on the front of
so
your
I'm actually
boat.
running. I'm running two of them. I'm running the 16-inch and the 22-inch destroyer or battleship. The so I met Mitch probably. I started talking to him about 2 years ago, and last year when I was starting to fish in the NPFL, like he started coming out with stuff and posting stuff, and I messaged him. I'm like, hey man, like if you're looking for someone to help with social media and stuff like that, like I'd love to be able to help promote it. Like this looks like a really cool product, and so I got one of the prototypes. I actually have the prototype back here in the back seat, and it's really cool. So it's a 22-inch screen that connects to your Garmin units. You know, you can connect it to a 1243, an 84 series, 86 series, or a Garmin 8700 series box.
Right.
And it basically just like screen mirrors off of them. But the cool thing is that a lot of people don't know is it has an extra processor in it, so it cleans up your
It cleans it. I was
Garmin
about to say, yeah.
images. I can watch like I want to say on Lanier when we were there last year, I was watching brush piles at 160 feet in front of the boat,
man.
and
Yeah.
I keep
That's
it, I
crazy.
keep it, yeah, I keep it dialed in, and normally at 180 when I'm offshore because like I can find roamers at that far. Like when we were on Lanier, I was finding them 160 feet out in 30 foot of water, and that's how I was chasing down the little wolf packs and then throwing a fluke on top of them and bouncing it off like when they got like 80 feet in front of me. So it's just a cool little thing. Like it blows everything up to the point where like you don't realize how many fish that are there that you don't see until you can actually see that they're there. It's one of them
Yeah.
weird things. Like I always tell everyone like when they go from a live scope, don't go with the 9-inch. Like if you can afford the 10-inch, like it's a little bit better. But if you can really afford it, get the 12. The 12 is where it's at.
Yeah.
I just tell everyone now to buy that 22-inch Garmin unit or that NBT unit because it is absolutely unbelievable, and the
Yeah.
stuff you can do with it.
When you
So
brought that sucker out on your boat, when you done that video and you put that sucker, I was like, that thing's bigger than the front of his boat.
yeah, so
That
now
sucker's
I got
massive.
now I actually am just have a prototype on my boat right now. I've actually been working with straight up mounts, and we redesigned the whole NBT gimbal mount and came out with a big water bracket, one that can handle the big 6 foot waves, constantly being
Wow.
beat, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that's going to be a product that's on the market here in about another month or so. It's one of the products I'm going down to get some video content with and stuff like that. It's going to utilize all three holes. It rotates to whatever position you want it in. It's 1/2 inch aluminum all the way around, so
Does
you're
it
not going
fold
to have
down?
it. No, it's fixed. I mean, you can
Is it?
fold it down. You can undo the three. So the way it's designed is it's got three bolts on the outside and then one in the center, and they're on hinge, so you can tilt it and move it if you
Right.
loosen them all up. But I basically set it and stay. And the way my boat's set up right now with that, I can basically put my cover on. Don't have to worry about anything. Camus makes enough room to where they can do that, and it fits perfectly. So we
Right.
actually designed it for the 22 and the 16-inch. So
Oh, nice. So,
so it.
Mark says we never did say what your YouTube channel is. So can you
Oh,
tell everybody?
it's it's Mitch Elsey Fishing. So it's the same thing on all platforms, Instagram and TikTok. Also, are Mitch underscore Elsey underscore fishing. YouTube is just Mitch Elsey Fishing.
And
So
we'll
go over there, check me out. Like I said, we got some cool stuff coming out.
and,
Now,
and we'll have a link in the description of this episode too, a quick link for people to click on and go straight to your YouTube channel as well. So make sure you subscribe to the
Oh, I
channel as
appreciate it.
well, man, because like I say, he is
Yeah,
an awesome, awesome channel. And you were talking before we went live, you actually have a couple getting ready to hit within the next couple of
yeah,
weeks that's going to be on
yeah.
there. So
yeah,
Yeah, I did. I got the one with Scott Dobson during the eclipse, and then another one that we went out and did a couple weeks ago. And then I have my practice videos from Mississippi River up here in La Crosse that I just got done with that Bass Nation regional event. It was pretty cool. That one was like I was catching big old 4.5 pound largemouth in the heaviest current I could get into. Going right back to what I was saying about me loving a river fishing. I went straight to that river first thing in the morning on Saturday
yeah.
and
So,
got
so
into
the,
it.
sorry,
Uh,
sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just saying I went right to that river, and by 9 o'clock I had like 13.5 pounds. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a fun derby.
Yeah. So do you see uh like down here, like people are kind of will go towards the current, especially with the TVA lakes and stuff like that. They're trying to
Yeah,
find that current. So, do the anglers that are up north and stuff like that do they try to find current? No.
current's bad. If you have current, it's bad. A lot of them. That's why a lot of them will run like if. It's why I say like all my fish in the river are so unpressured because a lot of them guys like if we fish the Detroit River or whatever, they're running to either St. Clair or they're running to Erie. I
Right.
mean, there's that's where the vast majority of your big fish are. But there's big fish that stay in that river all year long, and people don't realize it. Like I got one spot where I can roll up onto and throw a crankbait on it and literally catch 3 4 pounders in 3 casts. And
Ah,
it's just one of them spots. Like I don't post it very like I won't post that spot or anything else like that just because I don't want people to know. And like I've only shared it with 2 other people to this point, and it's just one of them deals where it makes one big old eddy there, and there's a big boulder underneath the current and stuff like that, and they just stack up.
John says he wants to know the wave points to the smallmouth heaven on Chick.
A lot of people do. I got one other buddy who's always messaging me, asking me, he's like, "You gonna give me?" He goes, "What's it gonna take to give up them waypoints?" And I'm like, "Buddy," I was like, "I don't know. It's hard." I said, "I'll take you there and show you, but you can never take anyone else there." And he's
Well,
like,
that's
"All right, deal." He's like,
yeah,
"Next time you're down there."
and that's the thing though is like, I mean, anybody can find anything now. I mean, you put a brush
Yeah,
pile out, the electronics, you can find them.
yeah,
Even when people say that the PVCs, they can't find the PVCs, the units can't find them, you can find them PVCs.
oh yeah, oh
the
yeah,
And
the problem
uh,
the problem though is what happens. You could tell somebody all day long where something is, give them the waypoints,
yeah.
unless they're out
It don't
with
mean they
you.
can catch it.
right.
Absolutely not. Unless they're out
Yeah,
with you, you show them what you're doing, how to catch both
Well,
positions.
even that way, you
yeah,
still it still doesn't. I mean,
yeah,
because he might do another little twitch or something to where
yeah,
everybody that most people don't catch. And I mean, I've gotten to like where I've watched videos to where I mean I don't really pay attention to what they're saying while they're fishing. I'm watching the
yeah.
reel, I'm watching the rod tip, I'm watching what they're doing because
So
if you can
What
figure out that cadence, then you can figure
yeah,
out.
But here's the thing too: when you watch it on a video, it might not do you no good the next day because a lot of
True.
things change day to day too. So
yeah,
sometimes you got to get out there, especially when you're fishing deep water offshore. It might be a different deal the next day versus what it was the
yeah,
previous day. So you got to kind of got to figure it out the same day. So by telling somebody what you're doing, it's almost
yeah,
impossible for them to get out and duplicate it unless you're out there
yeah.
that day. Tell them exactly what you're doing, and like Colin said, the cadence, the way you're twitching it makes a big deal. But it could change the next day too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly that's one of the most important things. That's one of the reasons why like I honestly started filming myself was because I can go back through like in practice and review of what I was doing and see if there's like a trend of like what position I was in or what like you can tell like how fast you're reeling or if you're
Yeah.
like you sometimes you twitch it and you're just not even realizing it like bouncing it over a rock or something like that like it's those little minor things sometimes that can make the biggest thing like change your whole deal like of what you're doing like it can take you from getting no bites to getting a lot of bites
yeah, and
Yeah.
and
you
all those
I'm
And
sorry.
that's and I've done the same thing. That's the reason why I kind of started was for myself. I mean I really wasn't trying to do YouTube and stuff like that. I just
yeah
wanted to have a video log for myself. And like uh, 2 years ago, I caught one that was uh, 9.8, and then I had a 8.6. My small fish was 6 pounds, and I lost one over 10. But I was throwing a Damiki vault, and I was thinking like I was throwing it up on the bank, and I thought that I was getting bit like within the first 10 feet until I went back and looked at the video, and I was more or less like 30, 40 feet from the
yeah
bank. And I was like, well, no wonder when I went back, I really wasn't catching nothing because I was thinking that I was reeling it back up because I was past the 10 feet that I was thinking,
yeah
and I was bringing it past the fish that, and so
Exactly, and
yeah
we talked about that before, Colin. How filming ourselves. Really, you could go back and watch that footage. 2, 3, 4 weeks later when I used to compete, I used to take a notebook around with me. I always had a
yep
notebook,
yeah,
and I was a constant note taker of what I was doing that day, my speed of my reels, what I was throwing, how I was throwing them, the cover I was catching them out of, and
yeah
that was a big deal for me. But I got to thinking, and I wasn't what back then I wasn't filming like we do today. And I'm like, man, if I was filming back then like I was today, how much easier would that have been instead of having to take notes all day long is just go back and watch the
yeah.
footage.
yeah,
I still take notes water temp
water
and if it what like
clarity,
if I'm down there color
yeah,
what bait
Yeah,
what color the water is the temperature outside if it's sunny if it's cloudy
cloudy,
if
yeah,
it's raining. I take notes of all of that stuff and like what
yeah,
body of water I am because you never know like eventually like if you come back in the same conditions most of the time they're going to eat under the same
yeah,
thing
yeah,
yeah. Because I like when I
so
would do my notes, I would do the same thing, but I'd also put like let's say I caught them on shell bed and 10 foot. I would
yeah
put I'd give as much detail to that day that I could give myself to be able to when I go back and look at it. It's
yeah
very, I mean, it helps out a lot,
yeah.
and so
yeah
but I do want to talk. What is your biggest like advice that you can give somebody that is trying to be an up and comer YouTube or get stuff going uh, on social media? What is your
uh,
biggest thing that you can advice that you can give somebody?
pick one platform and start on that platform. Grow an audience on one platform. So for me, it was TikTok when I first started off.
Yeah,
I had a buddy who, and find someone like, if you guys message me, like, I'm more than willing to help you out because TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube all have their own algorithms. So,
yeah, and
and
they're all different.
that yeah, and that's part of it is staying in them algorithms. So if you can pick one and stick with one, that's what you need to do. And pick like one or two companies to stick with. Like get a discount code, whatever it is, and then grow with that company. Let that company grow with you, and show them like how much you can do in sales and how fast you're wanting to push this product and stuff like that, and really learn that way. Because if you can build a relationship with that company now, and a year or 2 years down the road when you're ready to do this full time or you're ready for start getting paid sponsors and stuff, they're going to be like, all right, you've been with us for this long, this is what you've done,
Yeah,
and we really appreciate you. So that's one thing I would say is just picking that one platform, because if you pick all three or four of them that you can do and you start posting on all of them, you're going to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And that's
And that's
as
what
soon as
kind of
you get
happened with me for a
overwhelmed.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, me too. And once you get overwhelmed and stressed out with it and stuff like that, you're not going to want to do it no more.
You get
And
burned
so,
out real quick.
yeah, yep, and that's why I started doing YouTube at first, and then I realized like I'm getting too much on my plate for what I'm doing right now, and now it makes it a little bit easier because I can go back and grab some of them original TikToks and and Instagram reels and post them on YouTube Shorts, so and stuff like that, and it really helps with that way. And make sure you have a lot of backlog content, so you like before you start doing it, because the last thing you want to do is to have a video explode and do really good and be bringing a lot of attention to yourself and
And
then
then not have
lose your
nothing else.
momentum.
Yeah.
And I that actually happened to me when I first started doing it all. Is I didn't realize I needed to have that much backlog content. When I first started TikTok, I think the first like 2 weeks I did it, I was averaging like 40,000 views a video just because of how organized my boat was. And I'm coming home from work after working a 12-hour shift and then trying to spend 2 hours in the garage making videos and stuff like that. So just make sure to have enough content to where when some like if you start getting stressed out, then you can just hurry up and throw like 4 or 5 videos in your drafts, and you literally just have to hit post
Now what?
and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now what do you recommend as far as how often to post? Is it once a day, once
It
every 2 days, once a week? What do you
it
recommend?
depends on how fast you want to grow. So like to have a really good presence and stuff, you should do at least once a day. If you really want to grow fast and grow like and basically shove it down people's throat like without saying it like that, I mean, you want to post 3 times a day. The more you post, the more chances you have of a video going viral, which entails leads to you having a bigger following. So
Yeah.
it all relates. To the more you post, the faster you're going to grow. Right now, I'm doing one YouTube short a day, one Instagram post, one Instagram reel is what I'm trying to do, and one TikTok. But obviously, like at certain times, like I post more or less, miss a day here. But it's hard when you miss a day because, like on Instagram, they throttle your accounts if you miss a day. So
Yeah.
then you get throttled, and then you have to work your way back up for a week or two until you get there. So it's just really hard about staying in them algorithms and what's hitting at that time.
Yeah. And that's what I realized. Like, cause I kind of like if I do a video, I'll have Instagram. Like I'll do like a reel with it on Instagram, but you're right. Instagram, they want you to be consistent on, like, to be able to put it on every day, and they
Yeah,
want everything to come to them. Uh, but uh, YouTube algorithm, I mean, and
yeah,
not to trying to discourage any, because I believe that, I mean, if you have a passion, if it's fishing, motorcycle,
yeah,
cutting grass, or whatever, you got a phone, you can
yeah,
film yourself, and there's no reason why you cannot be able to post and stuff up,
yeah,
and be able to make videos. I mean, it's not saying that you're going to be able to be a YouTube star or anything like that, but if it's
yeah,
something that you enjoy doing, there's thousands of other people that enjoy watching the same thing. And
yeah, 100%.
um, so just, I mean, if you just film it, I mean, that's how I got started. It was just like, I just want to film
Yeah,
myself and just kind of help myself. But I mean, the fishing industry kind of lends itself to a bunch of people though. But
yeah. It,
I want to know though, is there going to be another challenge to where I see somebody jumping in the water when it's like freezing cold?
oh man, Doug and I have been talking about that, but he's so far ahead of me right now that we're trying to figure out how we're gonna do the next one. There's gonna be another one, and
Yeah.
I think we've kind of been talking about possibly a polar plunge next year to the
Oh,
loser. Uh, but we're gonna figure it out. There's gonna be something else. We had too much fun with that one, and we didn't do it this year. We talked about doing it in the fall, doing
Yeah.
it again, and getting ready to do another lake jump in February. But we're just trying to figure out how to do it because he's growing a lot faster. But I'm doing the same amount of views, and I'm growing pretty quick right now. I think last month I did 500,000 views on TikTok and stuff like that, and growing really fast. I think I grew almost 1,000 followers last month on TikTok, and
Nice.
so it's interesting. Maybe we'll do it on YouTube this time, and so that way I have the head start on them,
Yeah.
and and
Well,
also
what
that
we'll
would be a good
do,
one.
and what we'll do is we'll bring you on here because right now we got 1,300 people on here. So
Oh, sweet.
we'll have you come back on here and just do something. Be like, hey, I need y'all to come and help me out.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, dude. And last year it was so close because I had, for whatever reason, because like you get all them bot followers and stuff, and then they drop out at
to
whatever
drop
reason.
right off, and that
Dude,
pisses
so
me
last
off.
year, oh man, so last year I got up to my 10,000 mark on TikTok, is where, and that's where Doug and I started. I think he was at like 11,000. I dropped as soon as we started that. The bots got out, like they deleted all the bot accounts, and I dropped like 1,500 like overnight. And by the end of
Yeah.
that, I actually I gained like 2,000, 3,000, and I got back up to just past where we started at. And I was like, man, I was so close, but
Yeah.
it's all good. It was fun.
So
And
do you happen to have a Bubba scale?
yeah, I do run one.
Heck yeah!
Yeah.
All right,
That's
this is
So
what.
that's how I get my family to follow me at all these tournaments and stuff. Cause, and I'll get it, and I'll have my dad like sign in, and I'll be like, hey, I was like, here's my account. Like, you can follow me and watch what I have and how many fish I'm weighing.
Well, I'm about to leak something right here, but what we're working on to do a tournament, right? To
Yep.
where I'm talking to Shaw Grisby and Mike Iconelli. So we're going to do like a entry fee of like maybe $40 or something like that, and the winner's going to get something. But and then we're going to do the proceeds and stuff goes to the Ike Foundation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find people that's got the Bubba scales to be able to where we can kind of have a good following and then be able to get people to come in also
Yeah.
onto it.
Yeah.
And
So you don't have to be in our local vicinity to be part of this tournament. And
Oh
it's
man,
going to be for
is it gonna be every fish counts or best five?
we haven't
we're still
really,
working on the
we're
details.
still working on details
Well,
because the Bubba scales, guys, if you don't know, it's phenomenal. I mean, because
yeah,
they will do a day total of every fish counts, and then they could do the best five. So it's kind of however you want to do it, but because I want to kind of make it to where it's even, to where it's going to be a pretty good competition. I don't want it to be
yeah.
to where somebody from Florida or somewhere in the South or someone up north will come up there and just smash and I just don't want it to be a
How,
blowaway. But
yeah, because however you do this is going to decide on how if I get invited to do this is going to
oh,
decide
you're
on how I
invited.
go fish. Because I'm going to go. I got two lakes. One, I'm going to go to my lake X if it's best five, and I'm not even saying the name on here. And I'm going up to northern Michigan, and I'm going up there, and I'm just going to go smash a 30-pound, probably a 28-pound bag of smallies, or I'm just going to go to one of these hole in the wall lakes down the road and go catch a bunch of 2 pounders. But I don't know. I say that, but there's a little another Lake X that's down the road from us in Michigan that is a hidden gem. And 3 hour Monday night derby last year took 28 pounds to win
Woo.
of largies.
Yeah.
So people don't hear about that too much up north, but Michigan's got some big ones. You just got to find them.
Yeah. That's just, I mean, so that's one thing that we're working on right now.
Oh, that's gonna be
And
sweet.
so, and because we're thinking like, I mean, not everybody's going to get a chance to be able to fish against Shaw or fish against
Yeah,
Iconelli and stuff like that. So that's going
good.
to be kind of to draw the attention to
Yeah,
it. But I mean, we're just doing it to kind of to be able to help raise
yeah,
money for the Ike Foundation and stuff like that.
that'd be
And
cool. Yeah, I'm
um,
definitely in.
but yeah, so we've been trying to ask people like, hey, do you have the Bubba scales? And if they're like,
Yeah,
yep, we're like, you're we're gonna need you. We got people
yeah,
from Nebraska that's gonna be that's down with it and stuff like that. And I got one dude that said that he was down with it from that's on fork, and so I might
Oh, okay.
have to just
Yeah.
limit him to one fish.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for sure, let me know on that because I'll do when you guys do that for the Ike Foundation, I will do a thing on my Mitch Elsey fishing merch on TikTok where all the proceeds from that will go to the Ike Foundation too. So let me know and
Yeah.
we'll get that dialed in. So for you guys that don't know, on TikTok I have my own merch line too. This is the hat. I don't have any hat. The hats aren't on there right now; they're sold out. But all my hoodies, T-shirts, and sun shirts are on there.
Heck yeah. So, and I like that hat. I'm gonna have to get on there when
Yeah,
you let
I'll
me
get
know
you
when
one.
you let me know when you get the hats, and I'll.
I'll get you one. Everyone loves the hats. The hat logo is sweet. The back
Well,
ones.
when I first seen it, I oh crap! I just drew a blank of what his name is. The guy from Nebraska that
Oh,
fishes in the
Milliken.
leads. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought it was, and how he
No.
has that he always says them my
Effers.
MFers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry guys, I got my allergies. Whatever's blooming in Tennessee sucks. I just let you know. It's been kicking my
Yeah.
rear end, so that's the reason why I've been coughing. But man, I want to
Dude,
know if you could go and if you have to go and catch, let's just say you have to go catch a 20-pound bag. You got, let's say you got 3 hours to go catch a 20-pound bag. What's the bait that you're going to be going if you're, let's say if you're going
a
for,
drop.
is that for smallies and for largemouth, or are you going?
It depends. It depends on where I'm at, what I'm doing. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it depends on where I'm at, really. Like if I'm up north, it's gonna be a drop shot every time
yeah,
because I can show like depending on how they're eating a drop shot, you can shorten or lengthen the leader on your weight to either put it right on the ground or put it 3 foot in the air if you want. And
right.
but I don't know. That's hard to say because I love throwing a crankbait too. I go from one extreme to the other. I'm either power fishing or I'm throwing a drop shot. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's crazy.
There,
I mean, you have to be that versatile,
yeah,
and people they really they kind of lean more towards well, now with the forward facing sonar. They're leaning more
yeah,
towards the finesse and the drop shot and stuff like
yeah,
that. And
Now,
so, but these younger kids, like they really the ones the good ones and stuff that I mean that are doing pretty good at fishing collegiate and stuff like that. I mean they're pretty versatile, but I think they give up on the power fishing a whole lot sooner than what they really
yeah,
need to.
yeah. Now,
yeah. 100%.
do you still pick
They
up a flip
definitely do.
stick that you're now that you're removed from
Oh
float?
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm punching all the time still up in Michigan, and I actually have a tournament coming up Memorial Day weekend up there on the Grand River where I'll be flipping. I did a little bit of it down here on the Mississippi River in La Crosse. I actually got on a really good frog bite and was running throwing a running frog like a horny toad. Um, and got on a really good bite doing that. But yeah, I love to flip still. I actually I picked up my flipping stick the other day and had a Carolina rig on it up here and caught a couple 3 pounders and I was like, oh, this is a deal that's gonna go. And then freaking it rained and the water turned to mud and then fish left and so that stinks. I had a guy watching me and he didn't know what I was doing or what I was throwing, but he was watching me on the first two that I set the hook on. I left that point, went up to another one, and he was like a quarter mile ahead and worked his way back and he got up to me. And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna let him see what I'm doing. So I'm dragging and I feel one. I'm like, oh shit, shake that one off. That feels like a big one. Pick up, throw in there again. I felt another one, shook that one off. I set that rod down. I picked up one of the new Jewel peewee jigs, and I threw that in there, and I was dragging that across, and it ate that too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this, like why does this guy have to be here right now? I just want to set the hook. But
Yeah,
that's my problem is
they're chilling.
I just love catching fish. Like
Yeah,
I don't care how I'm doing or what I'm doing. Like I enjoy catching fish. Like I got buddies that are like, oh, I don't know how you do that Demiki stuff. Like I don't find it fun. Like it ain't fun at all. And I'm like, buddy, if you're fishing for 100 grand, I don't care what it is, it's fun.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy catching fish. So I don't care if it's flipping, if it's throwing a Demiki on an 1/8 ounce head, if it's a weightless fluke or whatever. If I'm catching fish, it's fun. It's a good day.
Yeah. So that's the main thing is when you go out there, you just got to have fun still. I mean,
Yeah,
when it becomes to where it's a job and it's, I mean, you're doing it as a job, but I mean, if you're
yeah,
not going out there and enjoying it, you might as well just
yeah.
pack up and just head on to the house.
And me and
A
Colin,
100%.
yeah, me and Colin
Oh,
talk
go
about
ahead.
this all the time. But every you go out there and it's a blast to go out and catch two or three
Yeah,
7, 8 pound fish. But me and Colin will get out there and we'd have just as much fun catching, 1 and 2
yeah,
pounders. Because
yeah,
if they bite, hey, it's a blast. If you like fishing, it doesn't matter if it's a giant or a small fish.
yeah,
But
exactly.
Mitch, don't
And
let him fool you though. He loves catching them 15 to 20 pound drums too. So
yeah, but yeah, go back to what you said about being stressed out. I can honestly say that's one of the things that, like last year, like I got to the point in the NPFL where I was working myself up with the house fire and I was stressing myself out and I was like trying to do this full time and stuff like that. And when the fire happened, like like I was still trying to work and stuff like that. And it made me realize like all the things in life that are too short and being stressed out and
yeah,
going to do something you don't want to do, like take that chance. Like it doesn't matter how old you are or what you have going on. Like if you want something, you can work hard enough and get it.
yeah,
And so last year in July, end of June is when I quit my job and started fishing full time. And I told my wife, like we talked about it, and she's like, if you're gonna do it, now's the time to do it. And like I was the type of guy that I worked 2,000 hours overtime every year, and I just did like I love money, and like it gets to a point where your happiness is more important. And so I gave up
yeah,
all being all stressed up about the same time, and that's when my season really turned around. Is when I quit being stressed out about work and fishing and everything. I just went out to have fun, went back to the roots of having fun, and just got back into
fishing.
it. And I
Yeah,
went back up to my the event where I turned my season around was the Bass Nation event up on Thunder Bay, and I got up there throwing a rattle trap on an 8-to-1 up in like a foot and a half of water and catching 6 pound smallies. And I'm like, this is a blast. So we got fun. We had fun doing that, and that rolled into Saginaw. And then Saginaw, I should have had a first or probably between a fifth and a first place finish at that one, but I had some issues that happened and stuff like that, and it just took me out of it. And then a 25th place at Eufaula, Oklahoma, and I just got back to having fun, and that's all that's into it. And that's what I told my wife going into this one today is like, or yesterday, I was like, I don't care what happens. Like I had a really good practice. I caught like 18 pounds the first day of practice, 15 the second, and I had over 20 on the third day of practice on the Mississippi River, all largemouth. And like
man.
I didn't go brown fishing at all. And I was like, whatever happens today. And I felt myself getting a little stressed out, and that's when I messed up my trolling motor yesterday. But I was like, I was just thinking in my head on things I could have done differently, but it was just one of the deals like that. Things happen and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah, don't be stressed out. Like things
yeah. Just
happen.
enjoy
Like
it.
God has a plan for all of us. Yeah, God has a plan, and that's the most important thing. And when it's your time, it's your time.
That's it.
So
Now, I do want to allow you to be able to talk about some more of your sponsors and stuff that
yeah,
actually helps you to be able to get out there every day.
yeah.
So, what are some of your sponsors that allows you that helps to be able to allow you to fish every day?
So Dynamic Media is my title sponsor this year, the social media marketing company. You can follow them on Instagram and message them, and they'll reach out to you if you have any questions. Jake's Lure Joint, he has some of the best, absolutely best hand poured line throughs on the market. There might be something that's coming out just as a little deck talk secret, but he's got something in the works. And then Straight Up Mounts. Grasshopper Farms, they are a grow facility that is in Paw Paw, Michigan. So a lot of you that don't know, my brother suffers from Tourette's and is in the top 2 percentile of people with Tourette's. And instead of using other opioids and stuff like that, this is the only thing that helps calm his Tourette's down to where he can function. So I partnered with them to really help promote the medical side of things, because without him, like, he's the one that really pushed me to chase my dreams and stuff like that. Like,
Right.
seeing how his life changed with that little thing. Like, if I can do something to help change someone else's life for the better, then I'm going to.
Yeah.
Eternal lithium batteries are the best, in my opinion, lithium batteries on the market, and Douglas rods. Without Douglas, and I just swapped to them this year, and they have a lifetime warranty on all their rods. Power Implement supplies me with my boat every year, and they're by far. There's a reason why I drive all the way to Louisiana, southern Louisiana, to buy a boat, and it's just because they produce the best boats on the market. So everything comes ready to go with no issues, and stuff like that. So they do a phenomenal job.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
But
because I mean, if you didn't have them, I mean, your dream of being able to fish like this,
yeah,
it could not happen. And
yeah. And NBT Marine, obviously.
yeah,
Anyone who's seen my videos has seen NBT. So
yeah, definitely have seen.
yeah, yeah.
But I want to. What was like when did you like, or when you was growing up and stuff, when did you decide like I want to do this as a full-time job, I want to do this as a career, or was it here just recently when you actually made that decision?
So I've always wanted to do it full time. I just never knew how. So my grandpa was probably one of the better sticks around that Kalamazoo area, Michigan. Like, he grew up fishing against Kevin, and and all of them are good friends of the family because of that. And so they've known each other for a long time. And my grandpa just never took the shot to do it, and he knew people that went bankrupt, and he was just scared to do it, I think, because he didn't want to
Yeah,
have to put his family through that, which is understandable.
very. Yeah.
um, so I heard a lot about that growing up. My dad really got me into fishing, and my mom always said I could catch fish out of a mud hole. Like, I'm really good at catching fish, and that's just what I love to do. And I just never understood on how I could make it into a living. And I never got into tournament fishing until I was probably, oh man, I had moved back to Michigan and was up there for like 2 years before I bought a Javelin 353. And that was my first bass boat. And we had an old Astro that was my dad's and stuff like that. But my first bass boat was a 16-foot Javelin 353 with a 60 horse 7 rib. And I got out and started winning tournaments and stuff like that. I was like, hey, I'm pretty good at this. So bought a Triton TR20, and invited into a Michigan Bass Nation club that's an invitation only club, and it's just full of a bunch of hammers. And my buddy told me, he's like, I've been in this club for 16 years, I've never got anyone in it. He goes, what's gonna happen is you're probably gonna come in, you think you're all hot shit, and you're gonna get your butt kicked. And I was like, that ain't gonna happen. I'm too competitive to let that happen. So the first tournament was on Traverse Bay, and I spent 6 months studying for this tournament. And I went up there. First day, had 19 pounds and took third place. The second day, I found something special the first day, and I went out the second day, caught 22 pounds, and ended up winning the deal. And he's like, I'm so mad at you. He goes, I had to hear the whole way home about how we got our ass kicked by the new guy in the club. So that's when I really like got into this, and I'm like, all right, like, I'm really good at this. Like, how can I take this to the next level and learn? And that's when me and the wife sat down and talked about it. And I started doing really good in that club. And I was like, if I'm going to do this at a full-time level, I need to learn how to fish the TVA system. I was
Yeah.
like, that is the most complex and difficult system in the States to learn. So we made the decision to move down south, and I started doing social media about a year after being down there and stuff like that. And then because I didn't know, like, I had a buddy who did it big time here. He was a buddy and did it for a while, and he was really big into it, and was telling me on how to do this and how to get sponsors and stuff like that. Like, I couldn't have done it without him. And got into doing all that and realized that companies don't care about tournament fishing no more. They just care about you. How good are you at promoting my product?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
so I
that's
got into
what
doing
we
all
try
that,
telling
and
people too.
yeah, companies don't care like what tournament trail, what this, what that you're fishing. If you're fishing something, that's all that matters. If you're posting videos and selling product, it doesn't matter. Like they're gonna back you. If you go
Yeah.
out and you sell $15,000 in product for a company, and and you can prove that you sold that, then you take that to them and say, hey, look, like this is what I did for you. Like let's talk a money deal next year, and then I can
Yeah.
show you what I really can do. And if that company like not to sound like bad, but if that company says no, we're not going to do that, then you
Get
can
away.
use that. Yeah, you can use that marketing stuff that you have and take it to another company and show them, be like, look, this is what I did. But don't ever sell yourself short. Like, but you also have to do all that. But I got in, not to get on that kind of rant, but yeah, that's when I decided I wanted to do this full time and got into doing that. My social media really started to grow, and I got into the NPFL last year and fished that, and just took the year off this year with the house fire that happened last year, and not really having any time to really sit down and think about what happened and stuff like that. And then my brother started having some more health issues, so
Right.
that's why we were moving back to Michigan and stuff like that to get settled in and make sure he was okay and stuff like that. And so next year I'm going to be fishing something. I haven't decided yet. It's either going to be the NPFL or I'm going to go take the shot at the opens. I feel like I'm pretty much ready for that. I was thinking for the last few years I wasn't ready, but I think I'm finally ready.
Yeah, and that's the biggest hurdle is for you to decide I'm ready for that next
Yeah,
step. And once you get to that, I mean, the sky's the limit. But
yeah,
you said something about guiding. Are you so is guiding still something
yeah,
that you want to do in the future
yeah.
or
I'm in the process of getting my captain's license right now. Probably by next summer, I will be doing guided trips on St. Clair, and I'll be doing Travers this time of year. So March, April, May, I'll probably be guiding on St. Clair, Detroit River, stuff like that. June is going to be strictly for bedding fish on Travers, Grand Traverse Bay. If you want to go catch 150 fish, I'm your guy. And the smallest one being 3.5 pounds probably.
yeah.
Um, so Grand Traverse Bay up there, and then probably back to St. Clair, Saginaw, couple of them other places like that. Lake X, if you want to pay the money to go there, and go fish that. And then in the summer or in the winters, I'm going to come back south and fish and guide down south. But I'm currently doing live scope training too. So if you want me to go out and tune your electronics, or you come out in my boat. And I basically explain to you and show you everything that's going on. We do a full day of fishing and stuff like that. Like I do that all the time. I'm booked up for the next couple weeks doing sonar training and stuff like that. So that's just another avenue of things that I do.
Right.
But if you want to do a guided trip, we can call it a sonar trip if you want. Uh, but no, but seriously, it's a big part in it. Like it's for a lot of these, like for a lot of the things, like it's really hard. It takes a lot. I have thousands of hours into learning how that LSV 34 works, and different settings and different water clarities and stuff like that. So
Right.
for the normal weekend angler, it's worth it to, in my opinion, to, and a lot of the guys that I take out and do this with is to pay the extra couple $100 to have someone tune their stuff and explain to them what they're looking at, because it's going to save them 150, 200 hours on the water.
Oh yeah.
And and knowing how to tune it and what you're looking at and what different depths and stuff like that. And because there's a lot of stuff, like settings change a lot, going from 10 foot to 20 foot and 30 foot to 20 foot or 5 foot. Like I can still
Right.
watch fish at 90 feet in front of the boat and 4 foot of water. And
Right.
like it's just like you learn them settings and stuff like that. So
Well,
but yeah, I'll
because
be
and I'm glad that you said that, because of the fact because I know a lot of people that they're like, hey, I'm going to put forward facing sonar on my boat. I'm going to go out there and
yeah,
I'm just going to start ripping some lips, and it's not like that. I
No.
mean,
yeah, no,
it's a process that
the,
you have to put in the time, and just like what
yeah,
you said, you've got thousands of hours of just watching and learning and
yeah,
stuff, and so
I can,
I'm glad that you said that, because
yeah,
that hopefully that kind of opens eyes. I mean, don't
yeah,
go and spend $1,600 on something that you
because
think
you think
is
you're
going
going
to
to catch
help you
fish.
out, but you got to
Yeah,
learn it.
there's there's been many times where I've turned it off. Like it literally has made me so mad before I turn it off. and just quit using it and go back to the bank. You'll have a fish come up and nose your bait and then swim away. And you'll watch it still on the screen and you'll tie on a different bait
Yeah.
or a different color, whatever, flip it back down there. They don't want it. You keep chasing that fish around and they just don't bite. I did that for an hour and a half one day, chasing like 2 or 3 fish. But it goes back to what you're saying is like after like what we said, like knowing what like part of looking at it is knowing what fish are going to bite. After you learn it and you spend enough time on it, you can scan over to a fish and be like, oh, that one's not going to bite. And then you scan over to another one and you're like, oh, that one's going to bite. So then that's the one you pitch to. It's like I was doing it on Lanier last year, and most of my fish, like besides the schooling fish, came out of like probably 90% of the fish I weighed came out of less than 4 foot of water, because I'd pan
Yeah.
over to the bank and I'd just run the bank down and I'd be like, oh, hey, there's one that's suspended in 4 foot of water. He's a foot off the bottom, and I'd throw over there and thump. You just dead stick it. You just let it sit there,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you just feel it and set the hook. And luckily with those spear point hooks, like I just have a small deal with them, but man, they're drop shot hooks. Like they're number 3s. Like I got a pack of. I actually have a pack of these are the 1/0s. But the number
Yeah.
3s is what I use for my drop shot hooks, and I don't care if them fish jump no more.
Yeah.
Them suckers, I promise you, you have to use a pair of pliers, even if it's skin hook, to get it out. It's
Those
absolutely
things.
unbelievable.
My dad, he was the world's worst. I mean, like he would lose a fish. I mean, if it was he had to catch a fish or he was going to get somebody was going to push him in the lake or whatever, he was going to get pushed in the lake because he was going to lose a fish. And then we Spear Point started. We started doing stuff with Spear Point and got sponsored by Spear Point. And
Yeah.
so I started giving him some hooks, and I'm telling you, he had probably the best year last year, and it was all because of the Spear Point hooks. And
Yeah.
they and it's just that V grip
Yeah.
technology. I mean,
It
once
pins
it
them.
gets in, it is in.
Yeah.
Like Norman and I done a video, and I told him that I was going to do this video. I caught a 6-pounder, brought it to the boat, and I didn't get it. I didn't boat flip it or nothing like that. I just got it to the boat, and I
Yeah.
let it spool out probably about 60 yards, and
Just freeline it.
and
Just
just let it
freeline
go,
Swim
and
around.
then brought it back, and that sucker was still just
Yeah.
I mean, and you get, and just like what you said, you have to get some pliers to be able to get them things out.
Yeah,
So
it's unbelievable. So I was always a trocar guy growing up. Like I strictly threw trocar. Like if it wasn't trocar, it wasn't in my boat. And I started losing fish on their drop shot stuff. It was like I was like, man, I don't know what it is. Their quality's going down or what. I mean, it was just a personal experience for me. Like you guys' experience may be different, whatever. So I started reaching out and I bought probably 10 packs to try. And I was like, I was like, these are pretty good. And then I started using them. I'm like, I don't lose fish anymore. Like I'm letting 4 or 5 pound smallies jump up on St. Clair, up on Lake X or Traverse Bay and stuff like that. Just letting them jump. I don't care. You can go ahead and do what you want to do. You're still coming in the boat.
yeah,
And
yeah,
also,
no,
one of the things I like about their drop shot hooks also is think about this for a second. How many times you don't even have to have a bite, but you bring your drop shot back using a conventional hook, and the O-ring or whatever kind of drop shot you're using, the way it's hooked, it's rolled back up, so the barb's almost underneath where the O-ring is. It's backed all the way
Yep.
back. You don't even have a bite. With the spear point hooks, that drop shot hook will keep that O-ring right in that V, so you're always going to have that barb exposed as well. So you're going to get a better hook set with that bait as well. Talking about their drop shot hooks.
Yep.
yeah.
100%. Yeah. And then same thing with their wacky rigs. It's the same thing.
Oh yeah,
And all stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of different. They're flipping hooks. They keep them pinned in that grass, and all pushes it back. Yeah, it's just like I said. Them hooks are absolutely phenomenal.
yeah. As a matter of fact, you said wacky. That's what I was talking about. You probably caught it when I said the O-ring.
We
Well,
did.
no, because like I said, I fish a lot of stuff in ways that people don't really think about. So I throw a wacky worm on a drop shot a lot more than what people think. So
Well, that's kind of why I brought that up. Not thinking, yeah, wacky rig, but I actually have a drop shot tied on
yeah,
right now, ready to hit the lake tomorrow, and it's tied on
okay,
wacky rig.
yeah,
Yeah.
So, well, we've had you on here an hour and 10 minutes, brother, and I don't want to hold you up. I know you got
oh no, dude, you're
so,
good.
um, but we'll let's see. I'll go through some questions through here, and we'll ask a
All
couple
right.
more questions, and we'll get off of here. Um, let's see. One thing I hate is, well, I don't hate. I think it's cool. Our viewers will start talking amongst each other. So I got like 20 million different comments I got to go through. So
Yeah,
I think it's cool that they talk to each other, but it's kind of hard to find
yeah,
questions.
yeah.
But so uh, what is you said? What kind of boat are you in now?
A Camus CX-21 with a Yamaha. So I started the year off last year with a Camus CX-21 with a Mercury, and man, I've always been a Mercury guy. And when my dealer called me and said, "We got one in with a Yamaha on it, we want you to run this one," I was like, "All right, so let's try it." I was like, "I've always been a Mercury guy. My dad's a Mercury certified tech. Like, if I run Yamaha, it better be good because he's gonna give me so much crap for it." So I swapped to it. Man, that Yamaha is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah,
So I absolutely love my Camus. It's probably one of the better boats on the market I've ever ran. Probably one of the best, and I'm happy with it.
yeah. I really enjoy if I was to go and get a fiberglass boat, Camus would probably be one of the
Yeah.
top two, at least the top two.
Yep.
Them and I really do like them Bass Cats,
Yeah.
um, but they do as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So, well, Camuses, they're pretty close on price wise with Cat now.
yeah,
Um, but I would say that, like, if I were the three best that I've ridden in have been a Cat, this Camus, and a Vexus. And
really,
it's, yeah, the Vexus is really nice. The only thing that for me it was a little different was it's a little bit wetter boat, but the ride is so nice. Like my
yeah,
Camus, like when I get in 6 footers, like my back don't hurt. Like I'll run 6 footers all day long in it and feel comfortable. Um, Basscat, the way they build theirs with them refiberglassing the top hull and the bottom hull back together and stuff like riveting, however they do it, there's not a lot of give. So like you get in 6 footers, like
you feel
it can kind of hurt sometimes, but it's a solid boat. Like it's really well made, and you're never gonna sink one.
right.
Um, but and then Vexus, they got air ride seats, and it's like freaking,
like,
it's
like
like
I'm
driving a
driving my big
Lamborghini.
trucks.
Yeah, yeah, you're big. Yeah, it's like driving a semi. I mean,
Yeah,
they ain't extremely fast, but I can tell you that you're gonna be there and you're gonna get there, and nothing's gonna hurt.
yeah. Well,
So
see, we got a friend of ours that he's got a 20-foot aluminum Vexus,
yeah,
and for a aluminum boat, it rides like a fiberglass.
yeah,
I'm
yep,
very impressed with it. But I've never talked to anybody that's had the fiberglass, and
yeah,
so I didn't even think nothing about it when we was talking
yeah,
about it. So
yep,
because I mean the Phoenix boats, I like those, but I've heard good and bad
yep.
from them. So um, so we got uh, let's say Chris is says if you had a choice to fish in northern lakes or southern lakes, what is your favorite or what would be your choice?
Mm. For the lake or I guess just fishing. Probably northern lakes, honestly. And like it depends on the time of year. Like I don't know, I'd probably pick northern just because I love chasing big old brown fish. I fell in love with it when I moved back to Michigan, and there's just something about them big brown fish that just get me going more than like I like largemouth fishing. Like I said before, like I like catching fish, but them big browns, like there's something else to them. The way they fight, they fight harder than a spot for the guys that down here who caught spots and stuff like that. But the northern ones are just so different. They're like straight footballs. You pick them up
Yeah,
out of the water and
they're
they're
built
wider than
different.
they
Yeah,
are long. Yeah, they're wider than they are long. And when I first moved to Tennessee, like the mouths on the smallmouth are so weird because they're like the size of a largemouth up north. Like your guys' smallmouth have mouths like our largemouth do, and like our largemouth have like little bitty mouths like this big around on a 6 pounder. And our smallmouths, like I'm not kidding you, like a smallmouth mouth on like a 6 pounder is like that big around. Like
really.
it's small. Like there ain't fit like. But then again, it goes back to people thinking that they don't eat big baits up here, but they do.
Me and
Yeah,
Colin were talking a couple
So
times about our smallmouth here in Tennessee. We're like, we watch people catching the smallmouth in Michigan and those northern lakes up there. And we're
yep,
like, they don't make the Tennessee smallmouth isn't made the same as those Michigan smallmouth.
no,
nah.
Michigan
no,
smallmouth
you
that wide.
yeah, you guys need to come up this summer and we'll go do a little shoot and stuff like that on the water.
Heck yeah.
Heck,
It's
that.
fun. Like I can get you guys on some big ones.
Jonathan says, uh, on your drop shot, what size line and rod are you using?
So I run I just swapped. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but Defiant Braid. I just swapped to them and trying it out. I run 15-pound Defiant. Um, Braid do a 6 pound Gamma Edge fluorocarbon, 100% fluorocarbon. I don't use leader line, but I use regular fluorocarbon. It just seems to be a little bit less abrasive, like a little bit more abrasive resistance and stuff like that. It seems to not break as often if you use 100% fluoro versus leader line. Like that's just my opinion. And then I run it on a if I'm doing long casts and stuff like that with a drop shot, I run like a 7 footer, a Douglas 703. And on my like fish that I'm really pitching to, stuff like that, which is 90% of the time on what I'm doing, it's a Douglas X Matrix the 683 extra fast tip. You want to have an extra fast tip, and the rod with a drop shot is extremely important. Like you want it to have a lot of parabolic bend. When that fish goes to run, if your rod doesn't bend right and stuff like that, you're going to snap that fish off a bunch. So having
Right.
that rod that bends all the way back to the handle is probably the most important thing. Like you can cheap out on a reel and stuff like that. Like if you look at my boat, I have a lot of like the Proficiency P414s or P413s, whatever they are. It's an $80 reel, but all my rods are nice rods pretty much, and all the
Right.
Douglas rods are extremely high end. They just came out with the new Aero line that's $100 rod, and I can guarantee you it's the best $100 rod you've ever put in your hand, like by far. But that 6.8 X Matrix from Douglas is probably the best drop shot rod I've ever used.
Yeah. Um, Another question is what soft baits do you use?
Everything. For drop for drop shot, and I use basically all baby Z2s and Berkeley the flat nose minnows and the flatworms. That's pretty much primarily what I use. Senkos, I get all my Senkos from Jake's Lure Joint, and all my line through swim baits. Jake is an active duty military guy. He's military full time and does bait making on the side, and he makes some of the best hand poured line through. So all my tubes, all of my Senkos, what else? He makes a new wacky worm, a new wacky tana. He just came out with in his baton. Those are two really diverse and different baits that them fish just haven't seen. So yeah, it's pretty much what I throw. Like crawls, he just came out with a new crawl that's called a kicker, and it was originally supposed to be a jig trailer, but that's what I was throwing. Wait, I'll go and post the picture later. I threw it on a Carolina rig this weekend, and that's what I was getting hate on. And so it's just like a stick bait with two big tails that come off the end of it, and it flutters really good.
Heck yeah. So I guess with that we've been on an hour and 20 minutes, and Fat Boy over here is getting hungry, and so Norman, let's wrap this up, and why don't you ask our last question?
Yeah, Mitchell. Yeah, it's been fun talking to you tonight. And but if you were to have one person on your boat, this person could be passed away, we're still with us, that could fish with you for the day. Who would that person be, and why would you want to fish with them for the day?
My grandma. So it's actually, I think today or tomorrow is the day she passed away, when I was younger, and I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with her, but the time that I did get to spend, she was just one of the most amazing people that this world has ever seen. And I did ever got to see her, and I just would like to be able to take her out and show her like the impact that I've had on not only like that fishing's had on me, and like that my grandpa showed to me, and the sport and how like it's grown, but how like how I spread joy to other people, because that's like one of the most important things to me is doing this is it's I'm not I do it a lot to for my mental health, or like for my mental health and stuff like that. Like fishing's good for me, but if I can turn around, I can use my platform and stuff like that to help one person either chase their dreams or find a way to make themselves happier or stuff like that, or change someone's life by taking them fishing or just talking to them for 15 minutes
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like it's the little things like that that go into this, and I would just love the opportunity to take her out and do an Instagram live or a TikTok live, and just show her like how much interaction and community outreach, and just show her like all that stuff. Like I know she's watching and stuff like that, but I would just love the opportunity to go out and spend the day with her.
That's
Heck
awesome.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
So, but guys,
yeah,
we hit not quite 14. I think it was about 18 viewers shy of 1,400. So I want you to all go and and go to my buddy's Facebook, social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and just go and just
YouTube.
bombard it. YouTube and
And we will put all the links for all the social media
yeah.
platforms in the description
it's
of this
sweet.
episode as well.
So we want you to do that, and because he's got some killer videos. He's got some funny videos, and but then he also gives some pretty good tips and stuff on
Yeah,
how to do things. It might not be the things that you typically would think of, but it also it helps out, and so let's help him grow as well. And we're going to get off here, and if Mitch, if you'll hang on just a second
yeah,
after we get done
yeah.
here, but guys, we appreciate it. Hope you
It's
live the
been fun.
passion,
It's fun, Mitch. Thanks a lot. And
Well,
and
thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it more than you guys could ever imagine. So
anytime, brother, anytime. So, guys, live the passion, and God bless.